Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids, the channel where you get no nonsense, in-depth details about all the cars and bikes. My name is Amit and I'm driving what is probably one of the most important car launches of this year, the Hyundai Exter. Now all of you know that in the mainstream segment, the cars are getting really expensive, and for a price-sensitive market like India, cars are getting unaffordable, and that's one of the reasons why the Tata Punch, which offered a subcategory in the sub 4 meter segment, has been running away with all the sales. Hyundai, being a very proactive market player, has decided to come up with a product in this segment, and must I say, the Exter really impresses, and the Tata Punch really has something to worry about. Now, there are a few things which the Tata Punch lacked at, and let me start off by telling you what those things were. First, the engine refinement was not at par with the other engines in the segment. Secondly, the build quality, apart from the safety ratings, the build quality, which is the fit and finish and the way things hold together, is not something Tata is really known for. So these things were a bit of letdown. And finally, the feature set was not as rich as people have come to expect from cars in any segment these days. The Hyundai Exter effectively addresses all of those issues, and after having driven this car for long enough, I can tell you that this car is something which is going to offer a fantastic solution for people who are looking at an affordable everyday car which can do most of the things. And the name Exter underlines the fact that this car can be good on the road and off it to a certain extent, and you can really take it to bad roads, and it has the ground clearance and the capability to take the beating that the Indian roads and the trails have to offer. Now, to start off, this comes with a 1.2 liter naturally aspirated petrol engine, and the power output here is 83 PS, and it's produced at 6000 RPM, while the torque of 114 Newton meters is produced at 4000 RPM. Now, that power is slightly less than the Punch, and the torque is also very marginally less. However, in effect, the 4-cylinder refinement and the efficiency of the 4 cylinders, also with a little less weight, manages to propel this car to 100 quicker than the Punch. The other important thing is the sheer refinement that you feel on a 4-cylinder engine, and it really feels very refined. Now, this is not as powerful or as brisk as, say, the 1 liter turbo which you'll see on the Venue, but it does feel very tractable. The first thing that you'll realize once you get behind the steering wheel of the Exter is how refined it feels, how well insulated for its segment it is from the outside world. You really don't get any wind noise or any tire noise, any ambient noise, and it does feel like a car which punches above its segment in terms of refinement. So that really amazes you, because below the sub 4 meter category, you typically had issues with road noise, tire noise, insulation, but this one really covers all of those bases really well. And Hyundai have really paid a lot of attention in making sure that this elevates your experience in terms of driving. The steering also has a very nice weight to it, and when you take it to speeds above 100, it weighs up pretty nicely. I cannot say that this is the most precise or the most feelsome steering wheels that I have come across, but it does have nice weight to it, and you can place the car very nicely on the road. I did a couple of double lane change tests as well, and while this isn't exactly a very sporty car, it does hold its own in terms of stability, and even at speeds well above 100, it feels very stable in a straight line. The tires here are 175 section, 15 inches, and these are JK tires. The tires are adequate. I won't say that they are more than sufficient, especially if you're going to be driving in the rains on slippery surfaces. You might find the car wanting for a little more grip, but in dry conditions, they are more than adequate. Even at very high speeds, I found them adequate. Didn't find any slippage or any sense of instability with the tires. Also, the noise inside the cabin from the tires is very less. So I think they're adequate, and I really understand why a manufacturer would want to keep the tire profile slightly narrower in this segment, because it affects the fuel efficiency. Talking about the fuel efficiency here as per ARAI for the manual transmission is 19.4 kmpl, and I did a test within the city and outside the city as well, and within the city you'll easily get 14-15 kmpl, maybe more if you're not in a stop-start traffic scenario. And on the highways, if you're driving even with the AC on and you're getting clearing ahead where you don't have to apply the brakes too much, you will easily surpass 20 kmpl, which is very good. Even if you have some braking happening, 19-20 kmpl is very easily achievable. So that again is a very good thing. So in terms of fuel efficiency also, the Exter really delivers. Another important thing that while driving within the city, you really need to bother about sometimes is the tractability, and that's where this car really excels. And I've always noticed that the 1.2 liter Kappa engine has been very tractable. There's a lot of torque down the rev range, and it's no different here also. From as low as 700 rpm, not even 900, from 700 rpm, the engine has sufficient torque to trundle along. And in 5th gear, this car will start moving from 25 kilometers per hour. So that's really good tractability. It allows you not to shift even when you are in very slow moving traffic. In 4th gear, you can start moving from 20 kilometers per hour, and in the 3rd gear from 15 kilometers per hour. So tractability is really good. And even if you're not going with AMT, which is an option here by the way, and which really helps in cities which are congested like Mumbai or even Delhi in some areas, you have the option of AMT. But if you want to save that money and you want to use the manual, the tractability is really good, and it's aided by the fact that Hyundai having one of the best, the slickest gearboxes and the lightest clutches really makes it a breeze to drive in stop-start conditions. So you won't really miss an AMT if you want to save the money, although the option is there. Talking about options, you also have a CNG option with this car. The Punch does not come with it yet. So the CNG option here gives you an ARAI certified fuel efficiency of 27.1 kmpl. So if you're looking for a CNG option, that also is available right off the block. Now, in terms of sheer handling, yes, this is not a car meant out and out for the enthusiast, but I really appreciate what Hyundai have done with the steering and with the suspension. So the suspension has been tuned very slightly on the firmer side. It feels very planted and stable, especially in a straight line. And around corners, you do feel a wee bit of body weight, but for this segment of cars, I don't really think it is worth complaining at all. The ride quality is pretty good. It takes a variety of undulations and bumps in its stride very well. The noise doesn't come in. It's only on the bigger, sharper bumps like the one that I have ahead where you feel a mild thud. On the really big ones, you will probably feel the suspension bottoming out if you're going over it at a very high speed. That is when you're abusing the car. But for the most part, this car handles smooth surfaces, rough surfaces, undulations. But for the most part, this car takes most varieties of surfaces in its stride very well. The suspension really is tuned very well. What Hyundai has been telling us is that the handling on this car is pretty good, and I agree with that. It is a very stable car, and sharp corners, double lane changes, long sweeping curves, everything is taken care of very well. And for this class of cars especially, it does provide you with a very stable set of 4 wheels. Now about the engine, this engine has been very familiar, and everybody knows that this is not an engine which is meant for the out and out enthusiast, but it's a very tractable, very usable, very practical and decently fuel efficient engine. And it has been slightly remapped to suit the characteristics required for this kind of a car, and it is very refined. It feels very tractable. And in terms of its engine speeds, in the first gear you will reach 48 kilometers per hour. In the second gear you will reach 88 kilometers per hour. In the third gear you'll see a speedo indicated speed of 132 kilometers per hour, and the top speed would be in excess of 150-160. But since we are on public roads, we have not even tried that. But for all practical purposes, this is a good car for the city and for the highway also. You can easily manage 100-120 at a very low RPM. So I did a test on that also, and at 100 in 5th gear, this car does about 3000 clicks or 3000 RPM, and at 120 you have 3500 RPM. Now, knowing that the peak power is produced at 6000 RPM, you still have 2500 RPM left even when you are at 120. So you have plenty of space to go faster if you wish to. Overtaking acceleration is good, but again, this is not a car which is meant for out and out enthusiasts. It's good for all practical purposes, but this is not a particularly fast or very brisk car. It revels in being driven comfortably and at easy speeds. In terms of the engine's limiter cutting in, it cuts in at 6,500 RPM, so 500 RPM above its peak power limit. Now, a word about the engine's characteristics also. As I mentioned, it starts spinning very nicely, starts delivering torque from as low as 700 RPM, from where you can feel the engine delivering power and the car moving forward. But it's really after 1,500 RPM where you really feel that the torque is properly built up. After 2,500-3,000 RPM, you feel that the torque is properly built up and the briskness of the engine is pronounced. And from there onwards, all the way till 6,000 RPM, where the peak power is produced, there's a very linear flow of power and torque available. The engine does get a little bit noisy after 4,500 RPM. Also, the engine does not mind being revved all the way to its red line and beyond, so that again is a very good thing. Now, another very important thing that a lot of you have asked about and are concerned about is the safety, and that's one area Hyundai claims they have addressed very effectively with the Exter, and it has been built ground up to make sure that it adheres to all the safety norms. And what Hyundai has been telling us is that they have tried to design it in a manner where it scores a 4 or 5 star rating in G NCAP. Now, you should understand one thing, that the G NCAP norms have changed, and with the advent of the new norms, cars without curtain airbags won't be able to score a 4 or a 5 star rating. So in that sense, the previous rating that the Punch has, which is very high, won't stand anymore, because that car does not come with curtain airbags. So if Punch has to score again, it will have to provide the additional airbags. But this car here comes with 6 airbags as standard. And again, I'm quoting when Hyundai says it, that they have built this car ground up to score a 4 or 5 star rating in G NCAP with the new norms. So not just have they introduced 6 airbags as standard on this car, they also have added a ton of advanced high strength steel and high strength steel in the structure of this car to make sure that it's really crash worthy. How effective their effort is, we'll get to know only when this car is tested, but they are really claiming that this car will surpass the expectations in terms of safety. I really hope it does. It does come with 26 safety features as standard or optional, which is a very high number. Some of the very mentionable features include electronic stability program as well as vehicle stability management. It also comes with hill assist control for the AMT. It also does come with all 5 3-point seat belts and seat belt reminders for all the seats. So all of these things are really critical to safety, and Hyundai have made sure that they have addressed all of those concerns, and they have taken the safety and the build quality a notch above to make sure that there are no concerns about the safety of this car. All in all, it's a really worthy package, especially for the price that they have offered it at 6 lakh rupees. If you're getting 6 airbags as standard, I think that's a steal. And before the prices increase, I really think that you should go out and take a test drive of this one. I'm impressed with what they're offering for the price, and for people who are looking for value, I do think that the Exter does offer tremendous value. If I really have to point out some negatives, I would just say that this is not a car which is too enthusiast friendly, and there are cars in higher segments like Hyundai's very own Venue N-Line, which offers a lot more excitement, but this segment is not for thrill seekers, it's for value seekers, and for that kind of thing, this is amazing. Also, a word about the capability of this car off the road. It has a ground clearance of 185 mm, and by virtue of that, you can really take it off the road, as in not off-roading, but if you take it on bad surfaces where you have some obstacles to clear, this car is capable of doing that, and that really is a good thing. In Punch's favor, it comes with drive modes. This car does not come with drive modes, but overall the engine refinement and the feeling from behind the steering wheel, the visibility, the quality of the materials inside, and the insulation, the refinement is definitely a notch or two above what the Punch has to offer. So this is the AMT version of this car, and as you can see, the primary difference is here at the selector lever, where you don't have the manual transmission and you have the drive and manual modes to choose from. But the big thing here for an AMT is the inclusion of paddle shifter for this segment, and that really is something. Now, initially when the AMTs were introduced, they were not as efficient and there was a very pronounced head nod, but now all the manufacturers have managed to tune their AMTs very well, and this one is one of the best that you can get. There's a very momentary lag now when the revs are matching when you shift the gears, and I'll give you a demo of that. And let me just shift the gears. So I'm in third right now, 4, 5, and it's almost instantaneous. So no problems there. In terms of fuel efficiency also, there is hardly any difference in the real world. If you're driving in a city which has a lot of traffic, I think this makes more sense. Official ARA numbers are 19.2 kmpl for the AMT as opposed to 19.4. So if you want to go for an automatic variant, by all means go for the AMT. It's really a very good choice. So that was about the driving part of this car, which is absolutely impressive. But since you would be interested in knowing about the exterior features of the Exter as well, let me familiarize you with those as well. And in terms of its exterior, while in the pictures it may not have looked very good to you, but in the flesh this car looks really impressive, very well proportioned, and does have a very outdoorsy, very boxy, very SUV-ish look to it. I really like the way this car looks. This color here, the khaki color, is a new color. There is another blue which is new. So in all you have 6 different monotone colors. Of those there are 3 which are two-tone as well. So in all you have 9 options to choose from. And let's talk about some salient design features of this car. You have this big Hyundai emblem here which is flat. You have this black horizontal line here, and the DRLs which have the blinkers behind them in bulb. This is an LED, but behind this you have bulbs. A projector headlamp which is bifunctional, which means the high beam and low beam both emanate from this, and it's a halogen. This is not an LED, and it's finished with this chrome. The housing is also satin silver and chrome, so looks very nice. Apart from that, it gets a parametric grille, the Exter branding. It's a very flat kind of treatment that has been given to the front. It looks very nice. It works for the SUV-ish character of the car. And underneath the grille you have these 2 slits and this skid plate. Now these rivets that you see here, or the screws, are not real. They are just for making it look like it's bolted on so that it looks more rugged. Overall from the front this car looks really nice. However, it doesn't get a front camera, it doesn't have a 360-degree system, but what it does come with is a dash cam, and this is quite surprising because the much more expensive Venue N-Line gets this feature. Even the N-Line basic variant does not have it. Coming towards the side, you'll see that it has a tall height. So in terms of its wheelbase and its height, it's better than the Punch, which means that having a longer wheelbase, it has more space inside, and that's a very important aspect because it does feel very roomy on the inside. Not just that, the boot space is also better than the Punch. So in terms of space, the Exter really does ace it. This one is the two-tone variant with these bridge type roof rails which really add to its outdoorsy look, and this color I quite like it. However, with this green background it's getting a little merged, but it does look very nice with some brighter backgrounds. The wheel arches are squared off, and these 15-inch wheels, although they are slightly smaller than the Punch, they fill up the wheel arches very, very well. This machine cut alloy that you see here is on the top of the line variant. The mid variant gets a black alloy and the low variant gets a 14-incher which is a steel rim. Up front you have disc brakes, and at the rear you have drums. 185 mm of ground clearance. This is more than sufficient for you to go over bad surfaces, no problem at all, and you get this undercladding as well as this cladding on the doors as well. The door handles are body colored, while the ORVM is finished in black with LED blinkers. A, B and C pillars are all taped in black, and you get this black thick C pillar as well. Now talking about the C pillar, you also have this hexagonal kind of honeycomb mesh styling that you saw up front on the parametric grille, and is there at the rear also, which has been applied here, and it does add to the premium quotient of the car. Now, as I mentioned before, you also get a single pane sunroof, which is a segment first feature. You also get the ribbed roof for strength, and a shark fin antenna, which again is a segment first. You get a very nice and sporty spoiler. It looks really nice. It comes with this high mount stop lamp. You get a proper rear view camera, and the design that you saw on the front parametric grille is copied here. You get the flat Hyundai emblem, an H-shaped light, and underneath you have bulbs, you have blinkers and reverse light also as bulbs. And at the rear you get a treatment which you saw up front with these 4 screws, and the skid plate is present here as well. Let's open the boot, and it has the best space in the segment. 391 liters of boot space, which is much better than 366 of the Punch, and the loading bay is not too deep either. And we have put in some bags for reference, for perspective. You get a light here. I would have really liked the seats to be 60-40 split, although you can fold them down. They are folding, so if you are only 2 of you, you can really fold the seats down and carry a lot more luggage in this car. So in terms of flexibility, The seats are drop down, but they are not 60-40 split. And the reason, as I asked with Hyundai, was they wanted to invest that money in some other places. It's a very good value for money car, so they really had to be very, very careful about where they wanted to spend that money. But for flexibility for a small car, I think 60-40 or 50-50 split seat would really have worked wonders. But I'm not complaining, because generally the boot space is segment leading. Now, in terms of spare wheel, you get this steel rim, which is a 14-inch 165 section. And while this is not an alloy or a full size, like not a 175 section, but this is good enough to take you home when you have a flat tire without any problem whatsoever. On top variants, you also get this parcel shelf, and all in all, in terms of the boot space, you simply cannot complain. Now, in terms of space and size, this car is pretty good. It's bigger, as I mentioned, in terms of the interior space owing to the longer wheelbase. Overall length is slightly less, overall width is also slightly less, but overall if you look at the space inside, it's better. In terms of missing features, I think the only missing feature is a fog lamp, and even the Venue does not come with one, while the Punch does have it. But overall it's a feature packed car, and on the outside or on the inside it leaves nothing to be desired at this price point. Let's have a look inside, because on the inside also this car is totally packed with features and the space is not too bad either. Now, as you would know, there are many variants of this car, and the one that I'm showing you is the SX Options Connect variant, top of the line. And there are differences in the different variants that you have, but in this review I'll tell you about all the features of the feature pack top of the line variant. I'll do another video about what features are there in different variants and which is the best value for money variant for you. But let's get going with the top of the line variant here. And one look at the interior will let you know that this car is very similar to the i10 in terms of the interior design and the materials. Quite a lot of parts have been taken from the i10, and this texture here and the layout of the dashboard is very revealing in terms of its similarities with the i10. However, the overall quality for the segment is pretty good. Now, you cannot expect soft to touch materials here, and all of this is hard plastic. This texture is pretty good. Driver's side window is one touch down but not up. You have electric folding and electrically controlled mirrors and window lock. There is this crevice for your wallet. There is ample space for a big water bottle, along with some more space in the form of this map pocket. The speakers are here. Now, getting inside is a breeze. It's pretty low for an SUV, so even the shorter ones amongst you won't have a problem. The steering is, as you would expect, only tilt adjustable, not telescopically. But the great thing here is that this central screen is all digital, and it's shared with some of the more premium, more expensive cars. So that's a fantastic feature to get here. This 8-inch high definition screen is fully connected, comes with BlueLink, as is evident with these buttons here. 60 plus connected car features, which is more than what you get in Tata Punch. The overall quality of the screen, the overall quality of the audio, the number of features that you have in the form of 12 different languages, embedded voice commands, up to 92 commands which are embedded, so you don't need internet to put your commands through. Also, you have 15 English commands. All of this makes it a segment leading infotainment system. It also comes with embedded maps, which is a first in its segment, so you don't really need internet connection for navigation. That's amazing. You will also get map updates for 8 years. 3 years of OTA updates generally are free as well. So all in all, you are getting a lot of moolah for your money in terms of infotainment and the instrument console. So it is in fact one of the most loaded car in terms of infotainment. It also comes with the ambient sounds of nature, and you can go to media and turn the sounds of nature on. This car also gets tire pressure monitoring system. Can you even imagine that on a car this inexpensive? You get all the steering mounted controls, you get cruise control, and here, as you can see, you have the buttons for traction control off, the view for the camera, and the camera's resolution is pretty good for this class. I quite like it, and it also gives you various different modes, so you can look below what's there under the bumper, and you can have a wide view as well. So all of that is pretty good, and this resolution for this segment is pretty good. It also comes with engine start stop. It comes with a cooled glove box. It comes with keyless entry. It has wireless charging right here. All the features that you would desire from a car, most of them are here. As I mentioned before, you also have this sunroof here, and it's electrically operated, single pane of course, but it is a sunroof which is segment leading, so it comes to about 80% of its full opening, and then you have to press it once again to open it fully, but it comes back fully with just one press. I also have to put in a word about the headliner quality. The headliner quality is pretty good. It's not that dirty, ugly fleece-like roof liner that you generally get. The headliner is pretty good, and on the passenger side you get a vanity mirror, but not with illumination. On the driver's side you just have a toll ticket holder and you have these two lights. Then you have the BlueLink buttons here. The mirror here is manually dimming, but this feature here is absolutely amazing. You get a dash cam with views for both outside and inside, and it is a great feature in terms of safety, in terms of evidence. So with this camera, you have full HD recording, and you have three modes to choose from. You have the normal mode where it keeps on recording continuously. You have the event mode, or an accident mode, where if you suddenly brake or the airbag comes on, or if there is some other event, it records the moment before and after that event. And you have the vacation mode, which is like time lapse, and it keeps on recording in a time lapse, and if there is an event, if there's a burglary or something, it records that properly. So it's a pretty comprehensive dash cam, and it comes pre-installed, so that's a segment first feature and a pretty premium one at that. Now you also get this crevice here, two cup holders, and you have this space here where you can store whatever you want. In terms of upholstery, you get this fancy seat upholstery which is semi-leatherette, so you have fabric here and leatherette here. You have this contrasting piping which is matched with the AC vents color, and you have it in three colors, so you can have it with black color, and then you'll have this pale yellow as well as blue with black, or you can have it in silver. The dashboard can be had in silver, so the upholstery is matched with what's the accent color, and you have a choice of three layouts to choose from. You don't have adjustable headrest though. The seat belts are not adjustable as well, and these are things that we might want to complain of, but the rest of the features on the car are amazing. The AC is fully automatic, so that again is fantastic. It has three USB sockets. In fact, this is a 12-volt socket which has been converted into a normal USB socket. You have a normal USB and a Type-C USB as well. The gear selector lever is slightly raised, and as I mentioned, the gears are absolutely slick. The seats are pretty comfortable, and even the large ones amongst you won't have any problem whatsoever. So overall, this is a very rich looking cabin for this class of cars. It's loaded to the gills with features, and not just in terms of the infotainment or other features, it's also packed in terms of safety. Now before we move to the back of the car, I want to show you how the voice commands on this car work, and this comes with a ton of commands, and let me just show you how the command for the sunroof works. Open the sunroof.
Opening the sunroof.
So this is a feature which generally was available in more premium cars, but it's trickling down to these smaller cars as well, which is absolutely amazing. Also, it comes with Alexa home to car feature, where you can pass on a lot of commands to your car with your Alexa, and that again is a segment first feature. So absolutely loaded with features, and Hyundai have left no stone unturned in making sure that there is all the features that you would wish for available in this car. Now before we move to the rear, you also would do well to know that it comes with footwell lighting, which is blue in color, and premium foot mats, which we have dirtied because it was raining and it's quite mucky outside, but it does come with premium foot mats as well. So absolutely no complaints up front. I really think it looks like a very nice interior for the price. If I really had to point out one thing, I would say that the headrests could have been adjustable, but with this segment, I'm honestly not complaining. The headroom is also fantastic. It's a high car, and even the 6 feet plus people amongst you won't find it short or their heads brushing with the roof. Let's get to the back seat now and see how much space do we have there. Before we get in, you do well to notice that there's a big greenhouse area to make sure that there's ample light going in. The door opens pretty wide, so the entry is easy, and the layout of the door panel is similar to what you have up front. Similar material here, similar crevice here, and you have a big space here for a big water bottle holder. The entry is pretty easy. The door height is pretty high, so even the taller ones won't brush their heads while getting in. The seat back is scooped out, and just look at the amount of leg room and knee room I have. This doesn't look like such a small car. There is ample knee room, leg room, and good amount of thigh support as well. The seat recline angle is also quite ideal, and honestly the space and comfort on this seat belies the size of this car. Even the headroom for this segment is simply astounding. Just look at the amount of space I have. I'm 5 feet 10, and I think a 6'2" guy can easily sit here. So the space here is absolutely amazing. You have these two handles. On the right hand side you have a hook, on the left hand side you don't. You get this individual light here. Obviously you get ISOFIX child seat mounts. As I mentioned, you get 3 individual 3-point seats for all 5 passengers. That again is a fantastic feature. You get adjustable headrests and you get seat belt reminder for all 5 passengers. Now in terms of other features, you get a rear AC vent, which is a segment first, and the AC does work really well. There is flow control here, not just AC vent, you also have a control for the flow, and you have a 12-volt power socket as well. Now on the top of the line variant, while on the driver's seat back you don't have a pocket, on the front passenger seat back you do have a door pocket as well. The space, as I mentioned, is really good. Of course you cannot seat 3 here for long distances. You can for short to medium journeys, but if you are going to be traveling as 4 people, it's got sufficient space. And in terms of the comfort, the cushioning, the space, the headroom, I really cannot complain. It really has been executed very well, and combined with the fact that the suspension is so good, it's so well insulated, the audio quality is so nice, this does come across as a perfect small car for a small family. Now the prices of this car have obviously been announced, and it starts from 5.99 lakh rupees, and for the manual variant goes till 9.32 lakh rupees. Now the base variant of this car is a little less expensive than the Punch, and the top variant is slightly more expensive. But if you compare every respective variant for features, you'll get more value in this car, anywhere from 35,000 rupees all the way to up to 80,000 rupees. And you can check the features and figure it out for yourself, because I have done that, and the features on this car are way more, and the price is extremely aggressive. I really think that this is great value for money, and if you're looking for a good small family car which doesn't make you rob the bank, Hyundai have really given you a great opportunity, and you should go with these introductory prices while you can. It really is a great value for money product. And also, if you're looking for CNG, you have that option with the Exter, and you can go ahead and buy the CNG also, which is available only on the Exter at this point in time. You also have the option of the AMT variant. Now in terms of the warranty also, this car comes with class leading warranty, and let me just spell it out for you. Now to start off, you get 3 years unlimited kilometers warranty, you get 3 years of BlueLink subscription, you get 16 free OTA map updates, you get 5 years Shield of Trust running repair package, you get 5 years Shield of Trust super maintenance package, and you can extend your warranty also up to 7 years. Honestly, for the kind of segment that this car is playing in, with the kind of refinement it has, the kind of options it's offering you, the safety, the features, the interior, I really don't want to fault this car. Hyundai have done a stellar job of it. And honestly, again, if you want a car in this segment, a value for money small SUV, you should go to a Hyundai showroom and take a test drive yourself. You would really be amazed. This car definitely has my recommendation, and I really hope that I was able to answer most of your questions in this in-depth Motoroids style review. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to Motoroids, and until next time, this is your friend Amit Changani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.